What's up, people? This is wood sorrel. We're going to talk a little bit about this. I just want to spread a little bit of information about wild edibles, I guess, and like urban foraging. Living in Florida, we don't have a whole lot of stuff that's growing, especially in kind of suburban and urban areas that is edible. There are some other states where you could like go out in the woods and everything and find lots of good stuff, mushrooms and all that kind of good stuff. But here in Florida, if you find woods to go into that, you know, are okayish, or if you live by some that aren't super dangerous with crazy animals and stuff, then usually they're owned by the army bases and stuff. So that's the case where I live. I live by an army base, so any of the really wild areas are owned by the military. So this is called wood sorrel, and this is one of the few wild edibles that I have found growing in my yard in North Florida. It looks a lot like clover, but you can see the leaves are kind of heart-shaped, and if my camera will focus, let's back up and just zoom in. Maybe that'll work. There we go. You can see in the middle there's like a little fold. Now when these get a lot of sun, the flowers will open up and the leaves will kind of drop back and they'll get really wilty looking. So that's, I don't think clover does anything similar to that. So that's one characteristic of it, but also another way to tell it between wood sorrel and clover are these yellow flowers. And clover, if you don't know, my camera does not like to focus. Clover has usually white or purple flowers that are like little kind of puffball looking things. These are little petaled flowers that are yellow. They are very clearly different than clover flowers. Clover is edible as well, though, I believe. But I know for a fact wood sorrel is. I have eaten this plenty of times. It tastes kind of like an apple peel, so it's really good to add into salads and stuff. My kids like to eat it a lot. These are the seed pods that you see right there. So this is growing in a container, which is why it's so big. You won't usually see it get like this in your yard. But I let it grow in this container that we used to have. Let's see, we used to have jalapenos in here. And it started growing in here after our jalapeno plant died last year. And I just let it because I like wood sorrel and I wanted to get some of the seed pods. So if you live in Florida and you see this growing in your yard, you might notice that it kind of dies out pretty quickly because it seems to be a little bit more of a fragile weed or natural grower. I don't know if you want to call it a weed or whatever, but it does get strangled out by some other plants. So let me show you a few spots where it's just growing in the yard, because this has gotten very mature. I've never seen one with like the seed pods. Usually they end up getting killed out before they go this far. So this is underneath one of my pecan trees, and I guess it's called wood sorrel because it really likes growing underneath trees and in wood mulch and stuff, because that's usually where I find it. But you can see it's a lot smaller than in the container, and there are no seed pod. Oh, there's one seed pod. There's one. But it usually stays really small like this, especially if you mow your lawn. Then I think it has like a harder time rebounding than things like chickweed, and I don't think chickweed is edible. Maybe it is. I wouldn't really want to eat it though. But wood sorrel is, and it tastes yummy. So if you see this growing, then maybe, you know, grab a piece, and if you know it's been growing somewhere clean, then try it out and see if you like it. The one that I have in the container, as I said, I let it grow into full maturity so that I could get some of the seed pods off of it and be able to actually plant some, because I really want to be able to grow more of it. The container I have it in now has had some things end up in it, which I was not too happy about. It was on the front porch. some of my boyfriend's cigarette butts got in it. So I am going to just take the seeds and plant them, and I'm not going to eat off of that actual plant itself. Make sure that if you are wild foraging, or urban foraging rather, that you make sure that the area that you're picking from is clean. You know, I know out in the woods, obviously there's a lot of animal waste, but it's a lot of times buried and stuff. And if you're not in a situation like that, if you're like in your yard and you have a pet, then there's going to be flies landing on your animal's waste and then on the plants. So keep that in mind. Wash things off. Don't be picking stuff where there are cigarette butts, or just pick the seeds and then go and plant the stuff and grow a fresh batch in your yard that you know will not be contaminated. So there are the seed pods. Let's just go ahead, hump one up. As always, I'm sorry I got dirty hands. This is my life. Alright, so you can see a little white seed that just came out right there. So that's what the seeds look like. They're very small. So I'm just going to take that plant and I'm just going to take some of the seed pods and just go like that around this tree so that they can grow better. Yay! And one of the benefits of growing stuff like that you see in your yard, that you know is going to grow really well in your yard, is just that you know it's actually going to grow. Lettuce and other stuff like that is wonderful for salads, of course. We all like that stuff, but sometimes it can be hard to grow, especially where you are and depending on the time of year. So if you try to figure out what's in your yard or what's in your general region that's already a weed, you know, as in it's growing in your yard and it's not grass, then you know something that will be growing a lot and really easily that you could possibly eat if you need to. So I just wanted to share that information with you guys. I hope that you're all having a wonderful day and being safe and all that jazz. Thanks for watching. Bye.